because it's like you coming in the community, you smiling, but you riding your big luxury cars, you got your big 6, 7 figure salaries, you're working for a $1 billion company. But however, you could come in this community, disrespect the residents of the community, not even coming in and say, we want to make sure you guys get out of here. They don't give a behind about our lives. And the anxiety level is truly through the roof. And I believe that's why they had the officers down there that following day for protection.
For their
Because
own
I know they
protection.
heard what I said. Yeah, for their protection. Because when they went up the street, I said some foul things to them and did some foul finger pointing. So at this point, I'm thinking now we probably need protection in the community. However, you are in our community. You're not respecting the people in the community.
Hello, and welcome back to Voices of College Park podcast. I'm Adrienne Murchison, and I am bringing you residents speaking out on issues and controversies in College Park. And today I have two residents actually of the city of South Fulton, and they are talking about a decision made by officials in College Park which impacts them. They are Connie and Tiffany Patterson, mother and daughter, and they really represent their community who is unhappy and in fear about the NextEra lithium-ion battery storage facility that is being planned for their community. The project, as you know, is located in the city of College Park, but it borders South Fulton and it definitely touches on their community. They are afraid that if a fire were to occur at that facility, how they would be impacted in their neighborhood. Will it spread to their neighborhood? How severe could it be? What is the emergency plan? What is the plan in the event that an evacuation is necessary? And there's a lot of questions and concerns that they have, and they want answers. So they are really expressing this and they really represent the voice of their neighbors. I had an opportunity to meet their neighbors when I first met the Pattersons earlier in the summer, and they all expressed similar concerns. They live in a very quiet, quaint community where they have lived for decades. And this is really a disruption to their peace of mind, among other things. And so they are going to express these concerns in a firsthand way. Before I bring you that conversation, I want to let you know that they brought up some issues that they have with South Park officials because they've been trying to, they said, engage with them and talk with them and find out what, as I say, plans are in case of emergency. And they said that they have not been able to reach or get a response from council members. So I contacted Council Member Helen Willis and Keo Chabelle, who the Pattersons mentioned directly to get their response to some of their concerns. One of the concerns that you'll hear the Pattersons bring up is that they believe or are concerned that South Fulton officials may have been receiving funds from NextEra in the way that College Park received funds on approval of the rezoning. So both councilwomen said that they are not aware of the city of South Fulton receiving any funds regarding this project. In fact, they said that the city did not receive any funds. I also have a request out to the mayor with some questions about this issue regarding funds, regarding an emergency uh, uh, crisis plans, but I haven't heard back from the mayor. The councilwoman also said that they believe that, well, they understand the concerns of the neighbors and they think it's understandable that a emergency plan should be in place. Councilwoman Bell said that she would check with the fire chief and the city manager and find out exactly what is the plan. Is there a plan uh, in the case of a fire? And Councilwoman Willis said that she believes College Park and South Fulton should get together and discuss an emergency plan. Let me share with you some of their direct comments. Councilwoman Bell said, "We are not receiving any benefits from this." She said, "Public engagement is crucial in all decisions. Transparency and community input is crucial." Councilwoman Willis wanted to be clear that once College Park approved the rezoning, South Fulton was no longer in conversation about any community benefit package, as in financial payments from NextEra to South Fulton. She said that the city attorney advised officials to back off of that. I will say that I am aware of a conversation between NextEra and a resident of South Fulton about funds. That was very, very shortly after College Park approved the rezoning. But that person was not speaking to a South Fulton official. That person was speaking to a South Fulton resident. The Pattersons had brought up an issue of redistricting in South Fulton because at one point in time, they were confused in terms of who their representative was. So they could go and talk to this person about their concerns about the NextEra project. They felt there was a lack of transparency around the redistricting. But Councilwoman Willis said that that redistricting was a very open process. There was public input, there were public meetings, there were newsletters and emails that went out to residents about the redistricting. So I wanted to convey that to you before our conversation. With the Pattersons, again, they represent voices in the community who are very, very upset about the disruption and the concerns and fear that this project is stirring up for them. With NextEra, I talked with a representative recently who emphasized that NextEra is engaged in communities where they have projects, where they build facilities, and that NextEra is very committed to being engaged in the community with this project, the spokeswoman said, and that it will be a few years before the project is complete, according to her. So let's get to the Pattersons, Connie and Tiffany Patterson. Let's meet them, two voices of the community. Welcome, Connie and Tiffany. Thank you so much for being on this podcast.
You're welcome.
No, thank you. Thank you for having us.
I so appreciate you two. And I just want you to speak to how this NextEra project landed for you. You know, you've been in your neighborhood for decades. You're in a part that was once an unincorporated part of College Park, and now it's the city of South Fulton. And you're impacted directly by this.
Mm-hmm. I would like to start off saying, I don't think the spotlight has been on the city of South Fulton enough. You know, I know that the parcel of land is in College Park, but it's like College Park and the city of South Fulton is together in it. I mean, because the city of South Fulton is not stepping up to the plate with the incentives, the money, which we know they're getting. And it's like we're being left out, you know, basically just no respect at all. With that said, they are now in our neighborhood heavily on a daily basis.
NextEra
Yes, Representatives, Melissa, Steve Smith, a lot of black SUVs is at the bottom of Delano Road. I encountered them the other day. They was down there, but they was leaving. Shelby gave me a call and told me that they was at the end of the road. But as I approached them, they was leaving. Melissa was in the first SUV. Steve was in the second one. It was like 4 black SUVs, Tesla and all that. With that being said, they left there and went on to Steve Mack's property.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and he has a lot of wooded land around him.
Yes, and that's the one where he's gonna be in his front door, side, everywhere. We've encountered strange people in the neighborhood jogging, doing 360 turns, taking pictures of our home and Miss Rachel home. Yes.
Miss Rachel is your neighbor across the street, elderly. Elderly. She's in her 80s, and they've been taking pictures of her home, and you all watch out for her.
Exactly. Well, my husband seen the white female jogging down the street, which was unusual in our community. And he literally seen her jog past him, go down in front of Miss Rachel home and make a 360 turn, took a picture of our home and Miss Rachel home.
No kidding.
It's some weird things going on in the community.
And nobody has spoken to you directly or your neighbors?
No one. No. We hadn't had any contact. The only thing we hear is we tried to give y'all something, you didn't want it. But what is $50,000 per household? And so that is nothing for compensation for us in the community. Which is Shelby was saying that they wanted to try to build a road past her house. They had the fire department, where the police officers and all down there, I guess for security for them in the community.
They wanted to build a road on Shelby's end of the street where they would have public safety
access.
People.
Yes, access.
Okay.
But they had already tried to put a fire department or police department down there once before, but we don't see how that's going to be accessed. It's all down in there. It's power line.
Right. And I want to go back to a point you were making earlier about South Fulton officials. College Park received a check for $1.6 million from NextEra after they approved the rezoning. And South Fulton, you believe, received payments as well?
Yes, according to the 2023 email that was sent out that was exposed.
I saw that.
They was slated to receive, I think, 1.9 million. It was 1.9 something billion dollars.
Right.
But they keep saying that they are not getting any money. They don't have any money. But it's hard to believe when that first benefit was offered and the city of College Park had never, approved anything.
Right.
But since all this being approved, that they are in the community, because let's look at it. That park in front of Shelby House, that's the city of South Fulton property.
Is that Delano Park?
Right. That's the city of South Fulton property. So that was one thing that they wanted to make part of the community when we met up, that the Reverend of Siloam Church was telling us we need to tell them what we want, tell them what we need, and that it was supposed to be a nice community center slated to be built there. These are all the plans that they had all laid out without the people in the community knowing. The Reverend from the church, Siloam Church, Jonathan, I don't want to call the wrong name, but the Siloam Church, Helen Willis, and other people in the community had already decided what was going to go on in the community. And the residents were just left completely out.
Yes.
Right. And I would like to speak on the part of reaching out to City of South Fulton. I have attempted to reach out to the City of South Fulton on many occasions through emails. I recently sent an email about 2 weeks ago. I attached several council members, Helen Willis, of the two districts, even the mayor. I attached several different people, letting them know, hey, this is moving forward. What is the City of South Fulton is doing for the people in the community? Because we haven't heard from you guys. I requested for them to come out to the community, have a conversation with us about what's going on, and talk to us about the concerns that we have. There was probably about 5 people attached to that email. Only one person responded. That's been about 2 weeks ago. That was Helen Willis, in which I'm going to say previously, months ago, when I reached out to her, she threatened me with legal because I had questions.
She threatened
She
you.
threatened. Yes, she did. So when she reached out 2 weeks ago, she told me that City of South Fulton has nothing to do with it. They have no jurisdiction. They are still refusing to meet with us. And at the end of the day, these are representatives. We deserve answers. These are people we've put in place that we trusted, that will protect us, and yet they won't talk to us.
Right.
I think that's the most frustrating part, is that they continue to ignore us.
Right.
Nobody will not meet with anybody in the community. Only one person responded to the email. It's unacceptable at this point. You know, she's saying it's out of her jurisdiction. At the end of the day, you've been voted into that seat. It's not out of your jurisdiction. Your jurisdiction is to protect the people that put you in that position. And they're doing a horrible job of it.
And I did talk to her back in the spring, and she said that she said the same thing that you said to me, that you just shared. You know, she said that it's out of her control, but she did try to talk to the residents, as you know, last summer, and get you all to decide and figure out how this could benefit you, because NextEra was offering something and it's coming. You know, the point is this project is going to happen. And so she was trying to look out for you all. That was her perspective.
And my concern is, as of now, if something happens, what is the evacuation plan? Nobody from City of South Fulton is talking to us. Nobody's saying anything. How are you going to get us out of there? It doesn't make sense. You're saying you don't have jurisdiction. That's unacceptable. I can't take that at the end of the day. What you're telling me is you don't care about the people. And the taxes that the individuals pay down in there, even though when you ride down in there, you may think, oh, it's slum, it's the hood. We pay real taxes. A lot of money in taxes a year.
Yeah.
You know, so
this is, when you say this is the hood, I mean, the neighborhoods look fine. The neighborhoods look fine, and you all have been living there for decades.
Right. That is correct. But I feel like they put more of the money on the other sides of City of South Fulton, if that makes sense. The neighborhood that looks better than that side of the town, if that makes sense. When you're spending $3,000 or $4,000 in taxes a year, when you can't even get a paved road, when you can't even get City of South Fulton councils to reach out to you regarding this issue, that is unacceptable. And it's frustrating.
Yeah.
You know, no jurisdiction. I can't take that. I just can't. You know, and the fact that they're refusing to talk to us.
Yeah.
So when do you talk to us? When people die? When people get down in there and they can't get out? Is that when you want to talk to the people? It's crazy.
Due to a fire or explosion.
Exactly.
You had mentioned to me, Connie, when I wrote the story on this whole issue, that this really is real anxiety. Like, there's real stress around this issue. This is about your life and where you live. And so can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes, it has become, I think, after when I was seeing the people in the community, it took me to a place Friday when I seen those cars and they was coming out the street by Shelby, I said some things. I said some ugly words to those cars. Because it's like you coming in the community, you smiling, but you riding your big luxury cars, you got your big 6, 7 figure salaries, you're working for $1 billion company. But however, you could come in this community, disrespect the residents of the community, not even coming in and say, we want to make sure you guys get out of here. They don't give a behind about our lives. And the anxiety level is truly through the roof. And I believe that's why they had the officers down there that following day for protection.
For their
Because
own
I know they
protection.
heard what I said. Yeah, for their protection. Because when they went up the street, I said some foul things to them and did some foul finger pointing. So at this point, I'm thinking now we probably need protection in the community. However, you are in our community. You're not respecting the people in the community. And
Yeah.
my biggest point is they are not exposing the city of South Fulton, and a lot of the residents beyond our street do not have no idea what's going on because they are really don't know.
No.
This going to be right there on that company. They hadn't contacted schools, how the evacuation plans are going to go, if it be a burn, how the kids go get home from school. There are several school buses come down the street and include special need buses in those apartments because I used to drive for Fulton County. So I know there are special need kids in those apartments that gonna probably need to get home and get mad.
So
So go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, even now, you think there are still residents in South Fulton beyond your neighborhood who
Mm-hmm.
don't know anything
Mm-mm.
about this
Mm-mm.
facility coming.
No, they don't. I don't even believe the people on Feltwood near the Banneker High School area. No, it just been focused on College Park, and I believe that's why the city of South Fulton kept it. Well, it's College
Yep.
Park, it's College Park, it's College Park. But once you pass that little boundary there, we're in the city of South Fulton. So when the city of College Park Fire Department saying that they do not have enough staff, nor are they ready to fight this fire, they do not want it. And if the city of South Fulton don't have the right equipment, we looking at hazmat teams. We looking at a burn for a weeks on end, toxic
Yep.
chemicals in the air. When they do that, they're gonna have to shut down whole Highway 29, Spur 14. They're gonna be people can't get home. These people don't know what they living in. They
Yeah.
do not know what's really coming. And that's the biggest fear.
Mhm.
And once it's up and it get done, they're gonna be want to know, well, why the city of South Fulton didn't let us know? And getting back to that meeting we had at Waccamaw Road, 2021, 2022, or I can't remember the year, where we met with NextEra, Helen Willis, Georgia Power representatives, the minister from the church, and people in the community. Um, I believe we being punished because we didn't tell them or give in and say, no, we're not going to accept this. Tell them what you want. How could, tell them what we want. We want to get compensated enough so we can move out of that community, move out of the area. We are literally in the front door, the back door of this toxic plant that they're putting in the community.
The
Everybody have a way out but us. We do not have a way out.
Right. Right. And on Monday, College Park had a city council meeting. And at the end of the meeting, when the council members were making their comments, Councilman Roderick Gay brought up NextEra. And when The rezoning was approved earlier this year because actually earlier in that meeting during public comment, residents were bringing up NextEra and the wrongness that they feel around this whole project. So when he brought up approving the rezoning, he mentioned that it wasn't necessary for the public to be informed about this rezoning being up for a vote at that meeting, because as you know, nobody was informed about it. It was put on the agenda at the last minute. But he said there was a technicality at the August 2023 meeting, and that this needed to be brought back for a vote. And the residents in 2023 had already expressed their opinions. So we already knew where the public stood, according to him, and that's why this is sort of a non-issue. And I just would like for you you've already spoken about that, but I wanted to let you know how this was brought up just this past Monday.
I normally watch the College Park council meetings. For Mr. Gay to say that, we didn't express our way. They didn't give us another chance because they knew that we had come in great numbers. We went from 3 women and a baby going up there stopping it to they gave us a few months and we had support everywhere. So they were not going to give us another chance. They had to go in under the table or whatever they had to do to get it passed. I told them that night when we left there and they said no. I told them they're not gonna let us win. They're gonna find some type of way to come back. I said they have too much money. They gonna pay somebody off to get what they want, and they did just that. They have paid off 2 cities: the city of South Fulton and the city of College Park. The city of South Fulton should be ashamed of how they are neglecting the residents. Not only not responding, I voted for both of the councils, 3 and 5. And not only that, we was misrepresented by Councilwoman Willis at the meeting that it was only 1 district and it was 3. But however, when we went to go vote, it was 2 districts. She only had the side of the street where the apartment complex, Shelby, and that right side. That's the only district she have, and right in front of the park. That's her district. On the side where NextEra is District 5. I forget whoever council later that is, but she's 5. So, and I asked her, so why was it we told we was in 2 districts at that meeting up there?
Well, I don't clarify what you mean. Explain what you mean about the districts and where the confusion came in.
Okay. We was always on Hella because she came up. She was the only council member that come to the meeting at College Park with NextEra. She was telling us that she was our representative for the area. And so that's why we was heavily on Hella, because Hella was telling us things that didn't make sense and telling us to take a deal that ain't nothing we could do. And we were just getting angry, like, you are a council person, but you stand up here taking sides with these people coming in. And that's when they wanted to lure us in and get us to feed us and for us to accept whatever they wanted to. They didn't want us to put up a fight, put it like that. If we could get them in here and get them calm, then everything could get passed. But we later found out that they had divided Delano Road. It just wasn't only District 3. They had put the side where NextEra going to be, where Mr. Steve Magnum lived, to another district, District 5. So when I asked, I said, so we thought we was in your district. Oh, well, they divided it up. But why the other council person wasn't there representing the whole street?
Right.
So, well, all I can tell you is they divided it up. I put it in my email, but I'm not in her district, but I'm still getting emails from her on on a monthly basis or whenever she sends something out. So they redistrict that area. So they now redistrict that area, then tell the people in the community that we're no longer just a zone 3 or district 3. Now we are 2 districts. So she had Delano Road paved. That's in her district. However, our community, where NextEra is coming through, is 5. And I asked, I said, well, we paying thousands. I'm talking about more than 2,000, more than $2,500 a year in taxes. Why our road is not paid? Well, she said that they run out of money. And I couldn't understand it. But she said we was getting a lot of the municipalities in the community. I told her name because we don't get the postal service. We had to pay for a post office box.
You don't get mail delivered from the U.S. Postal Service?
No. No. The mail delivery only come down Delano Road. It do not turn down any other streets in that community. No, ma'am. We don't get postal mail.
You have post office boxes at the
Yes.
post office because you don't have mail delivered to your part of the community.
No, ma'am. We don't have. No. It's only in District 3.
And do you know who your council member is who represents your district and your district? And have you talked to them?
Oh, no.
I've emailed her several times back to I forget her name. I didn't even remember her name, but I voted for her.
Because it's changed from last year, right?
Yeah.
It's changed from last year. So she was actually on the email that I recently sent to Helen Willis, but she never responded either.
What's her name?
Okay.
Is it Key Ocean? No, I don't want to, I think, but I'm not for sure. I want to pronounce her name wrong, but she was actually on that email as well. She never responded either. And going back to that email with Helen Willis saying they have no jurisdiction. What's strange to me is they don't have any jurisdiction, but a council meeting in College Park a couple of months ago at the benefits meeting with NextEra, there were council members from City of South Fulton at that benefits meeting. However, Helen Willis says they have no jurisdiction. So my question is, why was City of South Fulton council members there? We can't get any answers.
Adrian, not Artie Jones were there.
Artie Jones. They announced him and said he is here. And what he did was he left before the meeting got started, but they called his name. So you can look back at the video from the council meeting and the minutes. He was there. But yet and still, City of South Fulton has no jurisdiction, but they was at the benefits meeting. So what type of benefits are they getting that they can't tell us?
Right.
That council person for District 5 is Keosha Bill.
Keosha Bill.
And that's your district?
Yes. That's the district that they divided.
Do you all attend South Fulton council meetings, or other residents have they attended South Fulton council meetings and spoke out during public comment about this issue?
You can only speak on what they have on the agenda. But it's so sad that we in a community within that city, they do not want nobody to bring up what's coming in the area. And I talked to Shelby. Shelby, she want to do things. I said, well, we need signs. We need signs out telling people in the community this is coming.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what we need. We need to inform them so that we can flood the council meetings. I said, because it's just only a few of us in this community right here. The others there in the College Park area, we the only ones that's in the South Fulton area, So if the people don't know,
if the people don't know, I'm sorry.
No, they don't. They don't know that gonna be right there on that main thoroughfare. Do you know how many cars go up and down that street every day?
Yeah.
And not only that, they're billing. You could go down through there at 4:30 in the month, in the afternoon. There's a traffic jam. Right past that site where it's gonna be. And not only that, you can merge on the Spur 14 there. It's gonna be so bad. There are no trauma units close by.
Mhm.
So what is gonna happen when people can't get home, pick up their kids, and for the county schools don't even know that they're being impacted. They
Right.
get up an evacuation plan on how they gonna hold the students until parents get there.
And
So
some fires do occur at some of these facilities, as you know, and some of
mhm,
them are contained, but just the trauma of a fire
mhm,
when you already have this fear, and let's say
yes,
a fire does occur, but they're able to contain it and
mhm,
it's nothing extreme, it's still creating to me a lot of trauma because the fear is already there and the
yes,
there's an awareness of the potential of
mhm.
what could happen.
And not only that, just think if you're asleep at night and a fire break out, they already don't have the apparatus to contain it, to fight it, and water don't help it. You, they already say it takes millions and millions and millions of gallons of water. So we do not have. We may have a fire department, a fire station, maybe half a mile from there, but they're just one.
Yeah.
They can't take uh, hazmat from the airport. So what gonna happen when the planes need to land? When it's smothered for days? When people throat go to burning and eyes go to burning, nose go to burning over time? This is just inhumane
Yeah.
for the dollar.
For the dollar.
It's for the dollar. And not only instead of coming in and saying, "Hey, we'll give y'all a decent amount," we just go take the land and just let us have it. But
And at
no,
at this point, you just feel like you're being pushed out of your community. At this point,
you get pushed
Right.
you know,
out of your
and
community.
at this point, if you place something in a neighborhood like that, at some point people may feel like it's time to move out, and then that's when you get the property that you really want for a
Mhm,
little bit of nothing, pretty
Exactly.
much. You
Exactly.
know,
mhm,
Yeah.
it's a low income community, African Americans, you have fixed income people that lives down in there.
Senior
Hey,
citi-
why not?
Yeah. Yeah. And
There's no way to
you
come take over.
I
Hmm.
mentioned that I had talked to Mose James the fourth earlier,
Hmm.
and
mhm,
I know that you can't talk too much about the what the attorney with your GoFundMe campaign would be doing, but would you speak to why it was important to be a part of a GoFundMe effort and how you got on board?
Well, I felt like it was very important because we don't have a voice right now. City of South Fulton is not speaking up for us. Helen Willis is refusing to meet with anybody in the community. Um, Everybody down there, low income, no money. We can't fight big corporations. Their money is longer than ours. You know, we got to have a voice. And that's why we felt like it was the need to get an attorney. I was told by Helen Willis that the attorneys told them not to speak on it. Um, but my thing is, you're not supposed to speak on it. Clearly, it's something. So why aren't we being informed on what's going on? You
Mhm.
know, so we felt like it was a need, to find an attorney so we can have a voice. We've been fighting this for so long, and nobody's listening to us. Like, this is a big company. We've been fighting this for years, and we knew eventually they was gonna get their way because they have the money to do so.
Right.
you know and we feel like getting an attorney can bring more attention to this, where before we we couldn't. It was just right in the community. So I hope it'll bring a lot of awareness to it. You know what I mean? And Mose James, MJ, he reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to be a part of it, and I was like, absolutely. I don't mind being the face of it. I don't mind nobody knowing who I am, because I grew up down there. My parents are older. I'm concerned with them being down there if something happens. You know what I mean? Like, nobody care about the lives and the people down there. And what I think I hate the most is I feel like the people down in there have no voice because they're low income individuals. Nobody cares. You know what I mean? It's like, let them die out. Nobody never noticed. You know, nobody ever noticed they gone. But it's going to take for something to happen in order for people to take it serious. And that's the sad part. We don't want people to die, but it sounds like that's what's going to have to happen in order for anybody to take it serious.
Yeah. And that's the big question mark. So NextEra doesn't know the community. They don't know the residents. They're a corporation that maybe, theoretically they're not supposed to care, but there are local officials who live in these communities and represent these communities, and they're supposed to care.
That is correct. And that's what frustrates me again the most with the city of South Fulton. I have sent numerous emails asking for answers, and I don't see anything wrong with it. But the fact that you're refusing to talk to people raises red flags.
That speaks volume. By not responding, ignoring emails, and say, hey, we received your email, or can we meet with that? We tried to get a meeting with Ms. Willis before we found out we was two districts. When we only thought we was one, which was District 3. She refused to come to the church. She sent Joe Kearns from the City College Park, the one that's sitting on the panel now. He come in and got one of the benefits, and which I believe that was the first benefit paper that we had. And when she sent him in, so now I see why she sent him in. He was that eye to bring back everything, what was going on, so they could talk. He seen that benefits paper that we accidentally got for NextEra for City of South Fulton for that money, and he stood up in that church that day and he said, hey, can I take this with me? So he took that with him back to the City College Park so they could start making their money. I guess he said the City of South Fulton get a benefits packet. The College Park will get one also.
Well, I will say to your point, so he voted against it, the rezoning in 2023. And then earlier this year, he voted, if I have this correctly, he voted against the rezoning, but voted for the money. Very curious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Adrian, all of their wards are going to get a certain amount of money to enhance their communities. Ward 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the City College, but all of them is getting money from NextEra to enhance their wards. So if they are getting it, I know City South Fulton is getting money too from them also. Because where that line crosses up there at City College Park and it branches over right there to the City of South Fulton, when you pass those apartments, you in the City of South Fulton. So when NextEra come down the street, past our street, going down the Shelby, they in the City of South Fulton, they no longer in College Park. So if you gain access to come through and come down that street, you in the City of South Fulton.
Right.
And you gonna tell me you're not talking to the people in the City of South Fulton? Oh yeah. And they know it. And they know we know it. That's why they don't want to respond.
Yeah.
See, it's been so quiet so long. I think with me, my daughter, and all of and I got to give all the praise to the City College Park for taking that stance also, because it was just really us.
Meaning the residents.
Yeah, the residents of College Park. I thank them to the moon and back, because it was just only 10 or 15 people in the community that was going up there trying to fight it.
Who cared?
And I told Chev, I said, you know what? We got a lot of people with us behind us now. But now we just got to get the people of City South Fulton to put the pressure on the City South Fulton.
Right.
But but the thing about it is those boundaries and those lines. We not crazy. We know we live there in the city of South Fulton, but they got access to all of this back there. But you're gonna tell me you're not giving no money to the city of South Fulton when College Park got ward money, each district got ward money. Oh yeah, they got money, but they are not going to put it in our community uh, for the benefit of. We just gonna wait them out, and it hurt me so bad when they say we tried to give you something. You didn't want it.
Right.
What?
Right.
What?
Try to give
We
you
not
money to
did?
repair this or your home or a park, enhance a park or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, y'all didn't want it. They tried to give you something. You. Why would I take the crumbs when I can have a whole meal? If I can't have a whole meal, you can keep the crumbs. I don't need to go around and pick up the crumbs off the floor. I'd just rather not even be at the table.
Right. It's $1 billion company.
This is
Right,
$1 billion company.
Yeah.
Yes.
right.
I'd rather not even be at the table, you know. So I hope when they go to sleep at night or pray to God at night or whoever they serve, that they can see that the people in the community they betraying, and it's not in God's eye that they doing the right thing.
Right.
Mhm.
You know.
I
And
will I will say, I think you all have made this point before, in North Fulton County,
mm-hmm,
cities of Roswell, Alpharetta, Johns Creek, there's absolutely no way they
mm-mm,
would be able to
Nope,
put a facility in a community.
nope,
I mean, it wouldn't even get to the point of, "Let's
no,
put this on the agenda and
nope.
have a discussion about it." There's absolutely no way. No,
no
Mm-mm,
way possible.
no.
They
mm-mm,
would even put it in the rural area of Fayette County, where you just
mm-mm.
got rural areas.
Yep.
They wouldn't even take it to a rural area. But it's all because of that power. And like I say, Mr. Mack is in the line of fire, our house, and Miss Rachel. Everything on that side of the road is in the line of fire with power. I just want to know what they intend to do to our house because when we looked on that EJ grid, I can't pull it back up, but when we were doing some heavy research, that EJ grid showed where that power line will go run across our house.
Right.
They're gonna have to do something because with our house and Miss Rachel's house, we definitely in the line of fight.
You're saying a
Because
power line runs across your house now, or it would from this facility?
it would because our we have a power pole right in front of our house. And behind our house is the power line, Georgia Power. So they're gonna have to come across that back of our house in order to reach that power line that's in the front of our house, that power pole in front of our house. That's why we had the lady was down there now taking pictures. I guess they couldn't get a good view. They needed to be on the ground to
Mhm.
get that picture. So I'm curious to see what's gonna happen when they break ground and they start building. If they go run a power line over our heads or through the yard or what they gonna do because they know. I've been asked a lot of times by unknown person. I don't want to call no name. How much would I sell our house for?
You've been asked that by someone with NextEra?
A person in the community.
Oh, yes, I
Uh
understand.
huh. Uh huh.
I
Uh
understand.
huh.
Understand.
How much would we sell our house for? I was asked that so many times, and I'm like, my daughter say, well, you know why? Because other people' property may not, they may have a lot of property, but it's not in the line of fire or more or needed than that piece of property. Well, how much would you sell your house for? What? Yeah, I've been asked that so many times.
Have you been asked that since this rezoning was approved?
No, no, I was never asked by the official of
Yeah,
NextEra.
I understand.
Uh-huh. But no, 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 because I guess I was throwing out such crazy numbers that it ain't no way they was gonna come and give that kind of money.
Yeah.
I said, well, if I how about 6-7 million, and that was a number that I knew wasn't gonna fall through. And every month I get asked that same question, but it was just till later I realized that house was worth more than just sitting there. It was in that. It was right there, that power. So yeah, but no, they'll feel as though they'll come and give us fair market value, or we'll just decide to just leave
Mhm.
so that
It's
they
a
can
way of
have it.
it's a way of pushing you out of the neighborhood so they can get the property a
Hmm.
little to nothing. I
Yeah.
mean,
Hmm.
everybody's surrounded, so
I'm
sad,
telling
but
you, when I see them down in there, I get so angry.
Yeah.
I get so angry because the smirk that they have, you know, the smirk that they look at it, smiling at you like, hey, we here there. We get it. We got it. That's not a good feeling.
Mm-mm.
That's that's
No.
that's not a good feeling. And for them to be down in there and you got to pass by them and see them coming in your community knowing that they coming in there to do what they do, it just
and then you don't even have the city of South Fulton fighting for you. The
Exactly.
ones you put in those seats, the ones that you voted for, that said they were going to
mhm.
protect and serve and took an oath, they don't even have anything to say about it.
Thank you for joining Voices of College Park podcast. I will see you next time.